Here's what I want to say. This is a message to all owners of a company, all.
Now, here's the other side to this conversation. If you're a business owner or leader or have some level of leadership in an organization and this is happening, you probably don't care enough to make a change. So that makes you the problem in the situation. Two things are going to happen. One, you're not going to do anything about it. The second thing, you're going to lose a lot of good people. So I know from experience that at that level of management, it's more difficult to change because culture can only change in two ways, bottom up or top down. In this situation, you're not going to be able to make any changes from the top down. So let's focus on the bottom up approach. So if you're a leader or manager in an organization that this is happening, here's exactly what you can do to make a difference. Now, you have to make two choices or make a choice out of two situations. One, you can either leave the organization and say, this is not for me, I don't want to deal with this. Or two, you truly believe in the service or product that you're providing to the customer and you want to make a difference. So if you choose the latter, here's what I suggest. But before you start this, you've got to understand that this takes managerial courage and some leveraging to ensure that the individuals are exposed to what is really happening. Then it's your responsibility to be that individual that is pointing things out for the benefit of the customer. So people are not going to like you, but nonetheless, if you're doing the right thing, you're telling the truth, you're gonna stand out like a sore thumb in this type of environment. But believe me, if you're doing this for the right reasons and for the customer, then it is good that you're doing this. The first thing you have to do is ensure that you're managing your team based on performance. You understand everything around performance of your team, and you're doing everything you can to maximize the opportunity. The second thing you have to do is set up a weekly meeting with your boss to talk about performance of your team and those of your colleagues. Now, here's the details of this. You set up an agenda. At the very bottom of it, you talk about actions. What actions you need from your boss to support the goals and KPIs that you're trying to achieve. There has to be one or two of those actions that you need help from your boss to do so that he or she can take action. And do not remove those actions until it's resolved. What you're going to notice, if your manager or your boss is an issue, those things are not going to be resolved. I mean, it's not going to help your team move forward. And that is one data point that you'll have to have that conversation as to why your boss is not being supportive. The second thing is schedule a business review meeting. This is for more senior level managers, right, to hear and witness what each area is doing. For example, if you're a manager amongst four other managers and you have one or two senior managers, then you group them all together, put them in a business room meeting and talk about how each individual is doing. And if you have a weekly meeting, you can talk about, hey, this is the progress I'm making, but these action items, I haven't had any progress because of whatever your boss is doing, right? Now, that's if your boss is the problem. Now, if your senior manager is a problem, then the same thing, the same principle concept. As a business room meeting, you put action items and say, okay, if it's something strategic that you have no control of, but your manager does, you put it as an action item for your senior level manager to say, action item one, this is what it is. This is the individual who's responsible for this, and what's the due date. Then you leave it on there for every single meeting until it's resolved correctly. Not just pencil whip, but resolved correctly. This one will identify who's the problem, at what level of management is the problem, so people can know who's the problem. And the second thing is that they're going to know. That's going to expose that bad behavior as to what is happening. Now, these are two simple ways that you can expose this and use data points to address why these things are not happening. Because if you start pointing things out directly, it's not going to work. But if you're a supervisor or manager that strategically understands how the system works, if you use those two methods, you'll get a high probability chance that you'll make changes. And just keep in mind, whenever you have these conversations, it's not about the individual, it's about the process and what needs to happen to deliver on the goals, KPIs, and objectives to meet customer needs. Remember, keep it at the customer level. Why are we doing this? What are we doing for, right? What are we here for? To meet the customer needs. So why not take how are we fixing this thing, right? Just make sure that when you have the conversation and you're going to stand out like a sore thumb because you're telling the truth and you're doing the right thing and people are not going to like that. So when you do talk about it, make sure that you're talking from the perspective of the customer. If you want to learn more on how to do this effectively and correctly, please DM me, but also follow, share, like this video.